So we really appreciate you being with us. This is Mo. She is one of our volunteers at NAMI, and she is going to talk to us a little bit about um, some of the programs that she's going to help start at NAMI when we're able to meet again as a group.
Yeah. Hi, thanks for the introduction. So I have been associated with NAMI since 2018 when I kind of volunteered as part of a program I was doing. I was at the time doing my master's, and now I am doing my PhD program from UT in counselor education. And I've always been interested in food and how we eat, how we cook, and how that affects us. And so I thought of this concept of just being mindful and kind of reorganizing our thought process and being more mindful and intentional with our food, like both eating and cooking it, and that being a kind of a coping skill for us. So that's what I want to do with the folks in the community, and I'm really interested in working with the community in BG. I think there is a big need, and uh, because this community has been so good to me, I want to give back in some way. So what my idea was that like we can form like small groups, both for adults and for adolescents, for high school students, because when Ashley and when Jessica we met, that's what we said. Like Jessica mentioned, how there's a big need for uh, students, because they need to go out and do some activities, or their parents have been reaching out for some help. So initially, I thought of like the idea is to create two separate groups. One would be for high schoolers, and one would be for adults, where they can bring in a family member, or the high school students can even bring in like a guardian or a parent or somebody with them. And then just we would talk about mindfulness, which basically is like trying to build your focus, building your building skills that will help you concentrate more, and just being in the moment, and to slow down the process, both physically and mentally, slowing your body down, slowing your thoughts down, and being mindful in the present situation. And there's been a lot of research to say that that kind of helps to further your issues which you might be having with stress, with anxiety, with depression. So all of those are like really good skills to have um, uh, for your mental health issues and otherwise too. Um, that does
So
that kind of answer? Yeah.
yeah. So you started talking a little bit about mindfulness and it gave us a broad definition of mindfulness. Could you give us an example of maybe a mindfulness technique or approach or exercise that you would maybe utilize in a group setting or with folks?
Yeah. Yeah, so since I'm like, this is the project is going to be something to do with food and cooking. So I thought that, just starting with just laying down the like all the items that we are going to use, and just being able to use all our five senses to take a moment and step back and um, touch the like maybe the ingredients that we are going to be using, smell them, feel them, like talk about, and all the sensations that are associated with these ingredients. And often, when we talk about food, we talk about memories. People might start talking about the memories that are attached to some kind of smell or touch or feel surrounding the ingredient and the food item. So that's how we would start off, laying down all the ingredients and all the stuff that we need for the cooking exercise in a very mindful and organized fashion. That would take some time. And that itself would help to be mindful and intentional. And before we start the whole thing, we would turn off all the gadgets, no phones. We could use like a background music, maybe just like a soothing music to keep just as some like a soft background music. And then we would talk about the exercise would be like picking up the ingredient, like looking at it, touching it, feeling it, smelling it, and talking about what kind of memories or what kind of stories that would bring up. And then we would move into, using the tools and the cooking utensils, how we should be mindful about using them, or uh, just talking about how each one is used. So just taking it step by step, like really slowly, and being mindful of it and intentional.
So we think it's a pretty neat idea to move forward with a group like this. But until we can meet as a group of folks, it might be a little while. So, what are some tips that you can give people now while they're home? What are some ideas that they can utilize to when it comes to being mindful with their cooking and eating?
Yeah, so I think a big part of my cooking journey has been uh, not wasting. Like, it's a very big thing for me, just being uh, you know just thinking about the future, thinking about what we have, and trying to utilize all of that. So I always feel that go to your fridge. It's not always necessary for you to go out there and buy specific ingredients, because it saves time, it saves money. It's just being wise about what you have. And so that is the thing that I always want everyone to do. Go to your fridge. There'll always be ingredients that you can use. Make sure that the expiry date is it's within the range, and check what you can do. Like, if you go on Google and just say that, okay, I have these three ingredients, what can I cook with it? You'll be surprised that there will be a lot of resources available to you. For instance, like, if you have, like, maybe a bell pepper or just like cucumber, just type in those ingredients and you'll be able to get a lot of different ideas. And that is something, when we meet in person, we will definitely talk about, and I will give examples of, and give you tips to make those kind of things. So first of all is that, like, check what you have in the fridge. Make sure that, just Google it, or if you don't have Google, try to get creative with it. Smell it, like, see the texture of it, and you'll be able to see that how it can be used. Maybe, with something else that you have, like, just pick up two ingredients and see what comes out. Like, you can just do a new pizza topping or something like that, just. And the other thing that I want you all to think of is, when you have your ingredients in front of you, wash them carefully. Just take pleasure in each of those steps. Spend time washing the ingredients or getting the ingredients ready. And when you're cutting them, and when you're at home right now and you're with your family members, this is really a good time to bond with your family members. Like, often, from my personal experience, I can tell you that my daughter and I are, like, pretty much throughout the day, she's in her room and I'm in my room doing our stuff. But this is a good exercise to kind of bond with your family members, with the younger people in the family. Maybe just involve them and tell them, like, let's cook up something today together. And then everybody has a different kind of chore to do. Like, distribute that work evenly and empower them with the fact that they can also help in the kitchen. I think that'll be a good idea. So just remember these things, get together as a family, talk about your favorite food, what kind of memories you have with those foods. Like, while you're cooking something, talk about some recipe or something that has been passed down to you through generations. That's an important exercise as well. And you can create your own narratives and create your own stories with that.
Wow, thanks for all the information. So it sounds like you have a lot of thought out for this group that we're going to get started. In the meantime, if people have any interest in participating, you can email us, call us at the office, and we will definitely put you on the list for when that's able to get started in person. But in the meantime, we really appreciate your time. Is there anything else that you would like folks to know about what we're going to be talking about in these groups?
Um, yes, I come from a culture where food has everything is surrounded around food for us. Like, in India, particularly from the, like, let's say, from the region that I belong to, and I want to just give out a few useful tips. So we use turmeric in our cooking a lot. Like, I don't know if you have heard of it. It's just like it's basically a root, and it is available in at Kroger too sometimes. You can order it on Amazon. You can find it in a store if you happen to pass by at an Asian store. And I'm pretty sure it's there at Kroger. So turmeric is a very, very good root, which helps you build your immune system. So, if you really want to keep yourself healthy, you can just add a dash of it in a cup of warm water or warm milk. Use it in your food. It's used for coloring, but at the same time, it's also used to build your immune system. So, we use that a lot in our cooking, and that has a scientific reason to it. So, go out there and try and get hold of that. And I will be giving a lot of tips like this in our sessions, just like talking about a herb and talking about a root which has properties that will help you, health wise with your hair, eyesight, and things like that. So that would be my thing. Be mindful, try and cook what is there and use fresh ingredients rather than canned stuff. So I know it's not always possible. I use canned stuff too, but just being mindful of that and reducing those, I think.
No, these are some great tips. We really appreciate you taking the time to meet with us and chat about it. Ashley, did you have anything else to ask or add?
One thing I think that's great, and especially what you were mentioning at the end, Mo, is that it also is encouraging just good, healthy habits, the socializing, thinking about nutrition, those who might sometimes have a hard time just even remembering to eat, just giving them some more life skills that I think integrates really well with the mindful piece, developing healthy relationships, all that. I think it's such a cool concept. I don't know, the more we talk about it, I'm like, this is great. And I'm surprised I don't hear about these kind of, strategies, I guess, to improve well-being. So we're so
Yeah.
glad that you brought this to us. So thank you.
So thank you. And I want to
Yeah,
keep
I'm
this pretty minimalistic. I know that it's not, possible for everyone to have access to everything, but that's my intention to keep the things limited and not make it very fancy, but something that everyone can create and enjoy as a family. Yeah.
so I am really appreciative of you taking the time and joining us. And I am personally very excited about this group.